Number 10. Fresh doesn't have much to do with the food bought. Food companies all across the world use the word fresh to symbolize that they only source the best ingredients. From garden fresh vegetables to farm fresh meats, most customers and end consumers alike consider the fresh label to mean that the ingredients used are only recently grown or harvested, which itself leads to assumptions that the food will have higher nutritional values, as well as the lack of preservatives that are assumed to come with freshly harvested foods. While these things are expectations that a consumer may have when seeing a fresh label on food, none of them are requirements. In fact, the Food and Drug Administration, the government organization in charge of food and safety and food packaging standards in the US, does not have any requirements for a food to be labeled fresh. Fresh raspberries could be from the same batch as a can of raspberries being sold a month after harvesting. Number 9. The term natural only has meaning for meats. Natural has a meaning in casual language that leads many people to assume that the meaning is universal. People associate natural foods with organic production, and growing done without any chemicals like pesticides. While the FDA has been contacted numerous times about the term, including both questions about its meaning and criticism on its use in the industry, the organization has been completely silent on regulation of the term. This has led to companies putting the natural label on food that nobody would consider deserving of it. From pesticide use to man-made ingredients, many natural foods are anything but. Naturally, the misuse of the term, despite the authorities not actually designating a proper use, has caused a lot of anger from consumers who feel that they're being tricked and lied to. Number 8. Amazon shows prices below what companies are actually charging. Amazon is easily one of the largest online retailing presences today, largely driven by the slow initial adoption that many traditional big box stores such as Walmart or Sears initially took to the online marketplace. In using this advantage, Amazon built up a network that would enable it to secure the top spot for the foreseeable future. While Amazon has used many legitimate business tactics to stay on top, it has also been shown to use less than honorable, and even less than legal, means to maintain its dominance. One of the more notable of those methods is its use of the manufacturer's suggested retail price, or MSRP, as the display price for items. In and of itself, this isn't an issue. The issue rises when people actually selling the items price the goods higher than the MSRP, leading the display price on Amazon to be lower than the actual buying price, sometimes significantly so. Number 7. Stores get female salespeople to touch customers. Merchants and salespeople have known for hundreds of years that human contact and empathetic sales strategies have resulted in a customer that's way more likely to spend his or her money at your store. This is due to both the tendency for people to better identify with the salesperson through physical contact, and the willingness of people to trust women due to the perceived trustworthiness and motherly manner. Using this to their advantage, many big box stores will encourage their female staff to make casual physical contact with customers, such as touching their arm or back when leading them somewhere. Number 6. Companies will display goods for you to touch. Every company that does a large amount of sales will put a lot of effort into finding ways to further increase the number and value of those sales. One of the ways that they try to do this is by funding studies into the way that people act in response to passive things in their environments. Recently, a study from Ohio State University has demonstrated that products being available to customers to touch and feel before they buy leads to an increase in both the amount that the person will buy and the average price of the goods they choose. The study goes on to say that this is because the customer believes that since they've personally interacted with the products they intend to buy, they believe that they have a better judgment on whether or not they are considering a good purchase. This belief often leads the people to be more confident in their judgments, despite those judgments being based solely on the fact that they could examine the product, not any sort of expert insight or careful examination of it. Number 5. Companies prime you with related imagery before an ad. Many companies have websites that, on the surface, seem wide-ranging in relation to what they actually sell. A food retailer might have a website that prominently features methods or utensils for cooking, instead of the food they actually sell. This is a strategy used by companies in a variety of industries known as priming. The idea is to get people in a mindset where they will see a use for whatever product you have available. A food company might show you cooking utensils and appliances to get you in the mood to cook. A car manufacturer or salesperson might show you a racing scene, or an action movie to get you in the mood to go fast. And ideally, buy a nice car. This tactic has often been called exploitative since it takes advantage of human behavior. Number 4. companies offer multiple options with one seemingly best deal. People are very good at picking the numerically best option out of a field of choices. This is a fact that customers always take advantage of in choosing products from a variety of choices, especially in situations where the prices are affected by sales and special offers. Companies are only too quick to use this against consumers by offering many options, with one being the best deal by pure numbers, and also the most profitable for the company selling it. The most common example is offering something both as a one-time purchase or as a series of payments each month. The consumer may be able to afford the monthly payments when they come, but not the initial purchase, which would lead to the payments being better for them. Of course, the company will price the payments out so that they will be able to charge the consumer more for the monthly payment plan, meaning that they have a greater profit at the end of the term. Number 3. Free trials try to make you avoid losing the product. As a good rule of thumb, people really don't like losing a product or service they have access to, especially if they make use of it or feel as though it will be useful in a future situation. In order to take advantage of this quirk, companies will offer a special introductory rate or free trial for a good or service. This is especially prevalent in services that have a monthly subscription, such as a membership to a store or club, that people use periodically, but not very often. When the term of their special rate or trial comes up, people will often value the membership more than they actually should, causing them to decide that the fee is worth paying and is in their best interest to renew. Number 2. Companies show you the best information first to anchor you. A popular strategy that companies have adopted more recently is something called anchoring. They take advantage of the fact that people tend to become attached to things they believe are better, and thus will put more weight into that choice when comparing to others. The way that customers take advantage of this type of behavior is by putting the best information about their product where you will see it first, like putting the health benefits in the main label while relegating any side effects or drawbacks in the health information or in subscript small print. An even more obvious use of this is in car sales, where the company is not required to list off all possible negatives associated with their vehicles. Number 1. Restaurants will include an overpriced item to cheapen everything else. Restaurants are often huge offenders in ways to take advantage of basic human behavior patterns, just due to the fact that they exist to charge more for food than they have to. One of the easiest and also most profitable ways they do this is by making use of the human trait of recognizing patterns, even if none actually exist. One pattern that we recognize is the average price on a menu, which leads to the strategy of including an item on the menu of middle-priced restaurants that is double or even triple the cost of anything else. This red herring throws off our internal average, thus making every other item seem less expensive than the average, and therefore easier to justify buying.